Part 2, The First Recording, Joy Ridderhof. Joy Ridderhof had hoped to recover quickly, but for months she laid in her bed, too sick to do much of anything. She thought about her friends and ministry in Honduras and wondered why God allowed her to stay sick. How could she help people in Central America hear about Jesus if she was too sick to travel there? Should she ask God what He wanted her to do? She knew that people needed to hear about Jesus. She had seen how following Jesus changed people's lives for the better in so many ways. She wanted to help more people hear about Jesus. But how? Then she had an idea. She could use a gramophone to share the good news about Jesus. She remembered how people in Honduras would play gramophone records to listen to music in the saloons, places where people would drink. Today we have cell phones and other devices that can record and play music and messages. But during this time in Joy's life, nearly 100 years ago, the gramophone was the latest technology for listening to new music. This invention used flat discs to record and play sounds. Music and other sounds cause vibrations called sound waves. Inventors discovered how to record sound waves in tiny grooves on flat discs called records. When someone put one of these records on a gramophone, the machine would spin the record around and the tiny grooves in it would vibrate against the parts of the machine to create sound waves that played the songs or other sounds on the record. Most people don't have gramophones today, but back then these inventions were used all around the world. In Honduras, Joy had listened to the gramophone records being played in the saloons. Joy even had a gramophone record of her own that played Christian songs. Another missionary had listened to that record and said, "I wish we had records in Spanish." As Joy lay in her bed too weak to do much of anything, she began imagining a new way of telling people about Jesus. She could make a record in Spanish and mail it to Honduras. She joyfully started planning what she'd put on the record. She would play some guitar music that the Honduran people would enjoy, sing some songs about Jesus, read some Bible verses, and then explain what they meant. But there were more difficulties with her plan. Joy didn't even know how to play the guitar and didn't even have the equipment to make a record. What do you think she did? Joy prayed for God's help. While she waited for God's answer, Joy began taking guitar lessons. One day her guitar teacher asked, "Why do you want to learn how to play the guitar?" Joy excitedly shared about her plan to make Spanish records for people in Honduras. Then the teacher said, "I know a missionary from Central America who is here in the States right now. He has some recording equipment and can maybe help you." Joy was amazed by God's answer to her prayers. She talked to the missionary, and he was willing and happy to help her create the recording. They arranged for her to come to the missionary's recording studio, and there they made Joy's very first record in Spanish. She joyfully mailed the brand new record off to her friend in Honduras. What would they think of? A gramophone record in Spanish that told them the good news about Jesus. When Joy heard back from her friends in Honduras, she rejoiced to hear what they had said. Everyone loved the record and listened to it over and over again. People were memorizing the Bible verses and songs and were wanting more records. Joy was thrilled. She began making plans to make 50 more Spanish records. Soon her bedroom looked more like an office as she worked on the details for this important project. But then Joy received a request for a gramophone record in a new language, one of the most difficult languages to learn in the world. What would she do? Joy Ridderhof.